you're living up the meeting. Good to go? Okay, good. All right, I guess we'll get going. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you all to the first NPE DAC meeting for 2022. And I will officially call this meeting to order at 3:31 p.m. We acknowledge that we are on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe people. We wish to recognize the long history of Indigenous people of Canada and show our respect to them today. We recognize their stewardship of the land. May we all live with respect on this land and live in peace and friendship. Moving on, are there any additions for today's agenda? I'm seeing none, so a motion to approve it. Moved by Becca, second by Andrew. All those in favor? And that is carried. At this time, I'll remind everyone that if you do have any pecuniary interest to declare, please do so now or anytime throughout this meeting. Moving on to item 5 on the agenda, the November 17th minutes were circulated. Are there any errors or omissions? Seeing none, I'd like a motion to approve the minutes. Moved by Becca, second by Todd. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that is approved. Moving on to item 6 in our agenda. I'll speak briefly to this, but if Kim, you want to step in, you can. We had a member resign. Martin Voigt has resigned. I'll just briefly read what he sent out to Mayor Todd and myself, and it says as follows. It says, "Happy New Year, and I hope you all had a great Christmas. I will need to resign from my involvement on the NPEDAC. Reviewing the minute dates for the coming years, I already have a conflict with most of these dates because of corporate meetings, conferences, and other business travel. EFS also acquired another business in Huron Park in 2021 and is currently in the startup of a new plant in Alberta. We are expanding all 3 operations, which the 4th location being a startup in 2022. This requires all of my attention, and I don't think it's correct just to participate once in a while in a meeting. I can't really provide constructive ideas or feedback since I do not have the time to review the information. I hope you understand and accept my resignation." So that obviously is from Martin. Just to follow up, Mayor Todd and I both responded to that, wishing him all the best, and went on from there. So just an update, Kim. I'm not sure, do we need a motion to accept his resignation? I'm not sure what the point is here. Or we just move on. I know that the understanding that the term of involvement here is for the full term of council. We discussed, and being as we are into the last term of this current council, I believe we're just going to leave it vacant at this point, as we still have 4 strong members on the committee.
Mm-hmm. I'm not certain about whether we need to accept or make a motion to that effect. Perhaps CO Snell can comment.
I think it was just noted in the minutes that Martin's resigned.
Okay.
But
yeah, that's what I figured as well. Thanks, Chris. Okay, moving on in our agenda, we're on item 7 at the time. I'll ask Kim Couch to give us a North Perth economic development update. Kim?
Thanks, Doug. So hopefully everyone has had a chance to review the report that was included in the package. Just wanted to touch on a couple of items, specifically the facade improvement program. We've ended the first year of the program in 2021 very successfully. We've had 9 projects approved. Since the contract staff left the municipality at the beginning of November, we have received and approved 3 new projects. So that ends with a total of 9 projects in 2021. Projects totaling 86,873 and grants totaling 43,679. Now, most of those, only one of the projects completed earlier in the fall or late in August and has been paid. So we do still have a number of projects that are in process, and they will be having those granting funds paid at the time of successful completion of the project. So just thought I would comment about that, and that we're really pleased with the outcome of the first year. Lots of interest and representation across all 3 of our communities. And I think we have 6 projects in Listowel, 2 in Atwood, and 1 in Moncton. And all have really, are impactful projects. I do want to acknowledge specifically one of the new projects that had been accepted, 2, I guess technically, are projects for Memory Lane in Listowel. So we will, the 2 owners of the property have agreed to do a facade improvement, updating painting and wood, and as well as an art project, cleaning that up and making some improvements to that project in 2022. So that project has been approved to as a facade program as well as an art project, public art project. We've also received an application and accepted the project for Pins and Needles to have their doors and windows replaced, or some of them to be replaced, and that also is slated for spring of 2022 for that project to be moving forward. So once we plan to review and just to evaluate, see if there are any changes or suggestions for improvements to the overall program, and expect to relaunch in February with new applications. We have had some interest come forward already for new projects, and so that's an exciting progress report for the facade program. I also wanted to just note that I did circulate information to the businesses yesterday about new funding that has become open for applications, and for the Ontario Business Cost Rebate Program, new businesses, or all businesses actually that are eligible need to apply. One of the programs, if they had been successful recipients for the programs previously, the relief program, they don't need to apply. And for new applicants, new businesses that are interested and that are impacted by the reduction in having to shut down or reduce capacity, those businesses that are eligible will need, if they're new applicants, they will need to apply. Existing applicants may be asked to supply additional information if needed, but generally don't need to apply for that grant. So haven't heard any comments or any concerns from the businesses about those opportunities, but we've also encouraged them to make sure that their North Perth Eats listings, as well as their open for business listings on the municipal website, have been updated. So just wanted to give an update on that. As well, just speak quickly to the TTG project that has had funding approved for LDSS starting in March. So that project will be happening during the day. It will target individuals who are recent graduates or maybe who haven't officially graduated but are looking for work, to receive some training that will help direct them into the skilled trades area, and also give them just a good solid grounding to enter into the manufacturing sector. So that has recently been approved, and they'll be starting to advertise for the position as well as launching in March of 2022 at LDSS. I did do as well a summary of the capital projects that have been submitted for economic development that's currently being reviewed during the budget process. Just summarized what they were there. The Canada Community Revitalization Fund application will fund a improvement to the downtown space, to a downtown space, including public art, an eating area. We hope to receive word on that soon, and that would be would involve 2022 construction. One of the requirements was that it needed to be shovel ready, so we would be starting that as soon as possible, as well as waiting for decisions on the RED project for the Moncton Trailhead. And we do have other projects that we have requested of council to be considered for the capital project process. And I think that hits the highlights of the areas I wanted to just summarize at today's meeting. If anyone has questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thanks, Kim. Committee, any first comments or questions for Kim? As I scroll across here. Emma, if you see any, let me know.
I will, Mr. Chair. It's just good to see that the communities are getting involved with the facade project, and it's nice to see involvement and making our communities look nicer and more attractive to people passing through or stopping in. So that's great to see. Thanks for the update.
Perfect. Thanks, Tanya. Yes, I've had people reach out as well, and I've steered them towards Kim also. And yeah, they are being looked after. Thanks. Anyone else? I am seeing none. Okay, Kim, moving on.
Okay, so the next item is in reference to public or downtown Wi-Fi. At the last meeting, there was a question raised about the status of downtown or public Wi-Fi in North Perth. And so we did want to share the report that went to council early in 2021. It kind of summarizes the issues at hand, and and as well as the decision by council at that time. So just to summarize, the project, it was taken to council. We were at the point where additional or significant staff time be needed to proceed further with the project, as well as costs to complete. And there was also a RED application that was available at that time that we could pursue if that was a direction that council wanted to take. So the costs I'm itemized in the report did not include, in most of the cases, did not include potential legal costs or that would be required, operational maintenance costs, as well as potential security issues that would need to be included or added as well, depending on the direction. So the costs that are quoted there are on the low end. They would be expected to be higher than what was quoted. And at the time, it was council's direction that they determined not to pursue further due to a number of factors. Cost was one area, just that there were a lot of competing demands for budget focus and priorities, including connectivity at the broader scope, which is something that's been identified previously by Economic Development Advisory Committee, as well as just the impact of whether this was having would be fruitful, whether it would be something that would be beneficial in addition to security concerns by undertaking this type of project. One thing I do want to point out is that in most communities that offer downtown Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi across the municipality, the internet provider is owned by the municipality. That's obviously not the case here. I did investigate it in Stratford. Stratford does own the provider in Stratford, where it's under the umbrella of the municipality or the city. And I did not receive a response back. I did ask for information on it, and I did not receive that. So I believe in Stratford, it's not specific to the downtown. It's across all of Stratford. I know personally, I reside in Stratford, and I used to get notifications constantly as I was driving into the city if I wanted Wi-Fi, and I haven't recently, so I'm not sure if it's still being offered or not. But I did attempt to get feedback on the impact of that and did not receive it. But you do have the report that was shared with council as well as the resolution in earlier in the year.
Thank you, Kim, and thanks for looking into the city of Stratford for us as well. Yes, as this did come to council earlier on in the year, this is the first time I believe maybe that the committee has seen it, new committee members. Does anyone have any questions or comments or with regards to this report? I'm seeing none as I scroll across. Tanya, you're still there. Do you have any comments?
I'm still here, Mr. Chair. I think it's a sound decision, obviously with the cost of it, and that's a huge cost to the community, and maybe it's something to look to in the future, but I think it's a wise decision to put it on pause for now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else? Last chance. I am seeing none. Okay, Kim, thank you very much for your report today. Okay, moving on in our agenda, on to item 8. I'll ask Justin Diaz to give us a Perth County Economic Development Report. Welcome, Justin.
Thank you, through the chair, and I apologize in advance. I'm a bit under the weather today, so if I start coughing, I mute myself, that's just why. Yeah, so the report is in front of you. It kind of outlines some stuff some ground that Kim had covered previously about the ongoing business support programs available, so I won't touch on that. A couple of highlights from the report. So we did, at the end of 2021, have our Discover More Resilience Business Open House event, which was an opportunity for our business community to gather while it was still possible to do so in beginning of December, to really share some of those stories of resilience. In that event at the Mitchell Golf Club, we had some good conversation with some business folks there in a safe way. And what we did launch at that event was our Discover More Resilience video, which is on YouTube. The link is included there in the agenda, and really tells the story of just 4 of the many businesses in Perth County that have found ways to be resilient, to pivot, to offer new services, continue to support the community throughout the pandemic. So we launched the video in December. Really we're hoping when we were filming throughout the fall that December would have been a great time to launch and would have seen us kind of maybe emerging from the pandemic, but unfortunately, obviously that wasn't the case. So the video still is there, and it's very much about kind of uplifting folks during this time when we're particularly strained. But it is a video that we hope will continue to provide folks with those stories, and we'll relaunch again in a different, more robust way once we're finally out of this pandemic. So I do want to thank the folks at Between the Lines and Listowel, who were one of the 4 businesses featured and really helped make the video quite impactful. So thanks to them, and please do check it out when you have some time. The next item on the report is the Digital Service Squad. So this is just an ongoing reminder of this service availability to any business in Perth County, including Listowel and North Perth. One thing I will mention, since probably the last time I gave an update, is the Digital Transformation Grant. That application process did end at the end of November. So the current focus, in addition just to the general digital support that our DSS team member is providing, is really to help businesses that don't currently have or haven't been able to move their business online, who are interested in a Shop Here website, which is a free website offered through Digital Main Street. That program is still ongoing and still very much a good opportunity for any business that wants to get a digital web presence set up free of charge to do so. I think I might have previously misspoken. There was originally an end date to that program of March 30th, but they've actually extended that program into 2024. So still lots of time for businesses to get involved into that Shop Here program and get a free website. So please do reach out to Eileen for that or for any other of your digital needs. I know she was in North Perth recently taking 360-degree photos for businesses and walked down the main street and was able to help a number of businesses get those photos. But it's not just for downtown businesses. So if there's other businesses in the community that would like a free 360-degree photo, which can help with your own marketing, can help increase your Google presence and get people into your store virtually. That's something that she's pushing a lot right now, and we can do for you free of charge and in a safe manner. Discover More Adventures Experiential Tourism Program is our ongoing experiential tourism program. There is new adventures being launched all the time. So just a reminder to keep watching our social feeds for those. Discover More Flavor Program. So this is our farm gate map program. So 2021 saw a reprint and a relaunch of this map with a number of new farms being added from across the county, including in North Perth. So once again, in 2022, with many more farms showing interest, we're going to be doing another redo of the map. So there is an upcoming deadline of February 28th to get new farm listings into us to be able to include it in the printed map. Of course, digital can be added at any time, but we really do need to stick to that deadline to ensure that we can get the map printed in time for the coming season. So again, any new farm gates that aren't currently in the Discover More Flavor program printed map, please do get their information to us by February 28th. The next item on the report is our triage BRNE study. So this was a study that we presented the findings to County Council first meeting in December. The full report is linked in the report. There just a couple things to highlight was some really positive numbers that came out of this report in terms of maybe not exactly what we were expecting given the COVID pandemic. There was 95% overall business satisfaction. So businesses were very much satisfied with doing business in Perth County despite all the challenges that the pandemic had placed on them. Really positive news in terms of 45 businesses that we uncovered through the 160 size sample that we're planning to have an expansion in the next 24 months. So, that's again another positive trend that we really not expected to find when we had heard all the trouble businesses been through. And only 2 businesses with immediate plans to close. So it really was some positive reinforcement to the job that the community has been doing and councils and staff have been doing to support businesses, and really good information for us that we're following up with now in terms of helping support those businesses that have said we have a plan to expand. About what does that entail and how can we help facilitate that, as well as trying to mitigating some of those other businesses that maybe have plans to either sell or downsize. Can we make help facilitate that sale, or find out what are those underlying issues and see if there's some way we can mitigate that. So those were some of the high level results. And in terms of at the community level, some of the key issues are not surprising to us, but it was good to get that kind of statistically significant verification that housing for workers and availability of skilled workers and unskilled workers are still very much the top priority issues for local employers. So coupled with plans to expand, really is going to pose a challenge if we can't find some way to bridge some of those gaps. I won't say too much about the next item, which is our PC community transit, except that it continues to operate. Obviously, right now, challenged a bit with some of the business closures, but still continues to help people get to where they need to go. And then maybe the last item I'll just spend a minute on is the 21 Days of Local Love, which is a campaign we launched the day that the province announced most recent moving to modified stage 2. Obviously, businesses, especially those in restaurant hospitality, are being and gyms and all the other ones that are being forced to close or forced to reduce capacity. We really want to encourage folks to show their local love over the next 21 days. So we've been doing a daily draw of $100 for anybody who shows their support in our Facebook chat in the comment section about how they're supporting local, which could be taking a picture of yourself ordering takeout, taking a picture of yourself doing an online class, online fitness class, maybe some home renovation materials you recently purchased to help occupy your time while you're at home. So yeah, just a fun way to try to keep some of the local support going. We've seen it throughout. Want to just provide a little bit of a nudge and a push to help continue to keep that support and local love going. So I think I will leave it at that and welcome any questions.
Thank you, Justin, for your report. Any comments or questions for Justin at this time? I'll scroll across.
Yeah, Justin, it's Trevor. Your video was very well done, and I know us at Between the Lines appreciate you picking our business, and actually it was excellent. You get a lot of support from our staff here. We've actually all watched it, and it was very well done.
Thanks. It was a pleasure to work with the folks there, and thank you to the folks in North Perth for helping to make that connection for us.
Yes, it was a good video. Thanks, Trevor. Anyone else? I'm seeing no one raising a flag. Okay. Again, Justin, thank you for your reports and all that you do each and every day. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, moving on in our agenda, item number 9, 9.1. This is the NPDAC topic discussion, starting off with youth attraction and retention. Kim, go ahead.
Hey, thanks. So we started off this new process at last meeting, and we did summarize the ideas on the last minutes just for your reference. And so one thing I just want to clarify is that we're just trying to narrow down a little bit the scope of some of these issues, and for us, it'll really help us to kind of get some feedback from you as business sector representatives and business owners to just get your perspective, as well as perhaps youth, in particular for this first question. So the question we have this time is what social spaces are missing and valued by youth, and how can we impact? So I'd really like you to take the lens of it from being maybe employees that are youth, that you've heard, perhaps family members or others, or people that you know that feel what kinds of social spaces are missing. When we did the original youth attraction retention strategy, we did have input from they did quite a lengthy survey at LDSS, and some feedback that we got at that time were things like, they actually said at the time it was a country bar, and sometimes they were really specific about what things they felt were missing. And interestingly, we did have one start, and it didn't last a long time, but it was interesting just to get some of those specific suggestions, and then also how can we assist, how may we impact that. One comment when they were doing getting feedback, youth had said, well, we need a mall. And we had OMAFRA staff that were helping to guide the process at that time as well. And they said, well, okay, what about the mall is it that you're missing, or that you're looking for? And it ended up, as we drilled down into a bit further, it was more, the mall was things like jobs and a place to gather, and access to to different types of things to buy, but it was a variety of things more so than just a mall. So if you can, as we definitely would like to get your thoughts and ideas from that youth perspective on what you think youth are saying up to the age of 29 that is missing, as well as try and look at that lens of what might be the underlying issue that they're looking at, that we could help address, as well as how do you think as a municipality, or maybe, as a business sector, that we could encourage that development. And just, if anyone would like to start, and we'll just give everyone an opportunity to share.
Okay, Becca. Hello.
Sorry, I didn't know how to unmute myself there. I think the biggest problem isn't necessarily what we're missing. I think a problem is people don't know what we have to offer. I've talked to a few people at my work who are under the age of, most of them are 25, say, and they're not from the community. They don't even know what's in North Perth that we have to offer to them. Like, for instance, Between the Lines, they have sports events, like soccer clubs and all of those different things. They didn't even know that Between the Lines even existed. Obviously, if people looked into it, that's one thing, but not being from here, they don't really know those things exist. So I don't know if there's a way that we could add some kind of events page onto the township website, or have some kind of flyer that kind of advertises different events that are happening within the community, so that people can have those social things to do within the community.
Okay, can I just respond to that? Because that is really interesting, because we do have an events page. We actually have like the community connection that goes out to all addresses as well. So that's circulated. I mean, maybe we need to tailor the types of events and things like that get included that would be of more interest to that group. For sure that can be, we can utilize what's existing with that, because it is on the website, as well as going out in paper. As well, we recently launched Driftscape, which is an app that you can access it on a web page as well. It doesn't only have to be through an app, but they would be able to access, and I know Between the Lines is listed there, as well as we try to include on upcoming events as well. But you're right. I mean, again, people finding out ways to spread that information, maybe having ambassadors being able to share, or to be able to get those sources of information about events and things to do spread.
Yeah, because I think, like, just talking to some of these people who it's hard for them to meet people within the community. And we've had people leave our job place because they can't make those connections. Like, I've had a lot of feedback from people saying Listowel is a small town. Everyone has like their connections already from the town. So when you're coming as an outsider, it's really hard to make those connections. Mm-hmm. And your usual connections that you have are through work. But sometimes when there's such a huge gap between ages, you might not know the certain things that are going on within the community. So I think if we were, I don't know if like places of work or places of employment within the municipality, if they were kind of almost like a welcome package in a way, if someone was coming from, say, not from the area or surrounding area, that they'd have kind of, here's some local areas, here's where you can access information about events, like something like that. I know it's kind of difficult, but I think something needs to go out to people who aren't from around here. Otherwise, I think it's hard to keep them within the community. And people end up moving. Like, I had someone tell me that they had 2 employees move to Listowel and then ended up moving to the city because they couldn't make connections here.
That was a local employer that said that, or?
Yeah.
Thanks, Becca.
Yes, thanks, Becca. Kim, do we still do like welcome package? That was something I haven't heard of in a while. Do we still do that? I know we did
do
one
wel-
time.
We do have welcome packages. We have a written, like a welcome package document that's available at the municipal office. They also issue welcome packages that we, along with businesses, the county, and we include a bunch of information at the chamber because they really act as our tourism office. So welcome packages are available. They do, I mean, with the pandemic, it's been a little bit difficult. People haven't always known how to source that. And maybe it is important for us to be letting the employers know about these sources of welcome package information and where they can get that kind of information. Because if someone, even like HR departments or business owners know, then they can help to encourage or direct them because we try to promote it. The chamber tries to promote it, but it's just a bit of a gap. So if we can look at different ways to improve that, and maybe reaching out to maybe if those individual businesses knew that, we try to share it, but maybe not. It's not understood or it's not clear. So we'll just need to relook at that.
Thanks, Kim. Justin, I see you have your hand up.
Yes, thank you, through the chair. Yeah, so we did create some packages at the end of last year. They're not specifically youth-related packages, so they're more geared towards new employees who come into the area. And we have made some of those available. I don't know if there's some in North Perth. We have some North Perth employers, but I'm not sure if there's some available at the municipal office or not. We can definitely make those available. I know that I have some scheduled to be dropped off at the chamber and as well. So they're new employee or commuter employee information packages. So more about kind of what's to do in recreation, but they're not. I guess they're not tailored towards youth, but I'm sure there's good information for you that are contained in those packages as well. So wanted to let folks on the call as well as those in PD know that we do have some of those available if you're interested.
Thanks, Justin. Anyone else? Trevor, Andrew?
I will, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Tanya, go ahead. Thank you.
I appreciate Becca's comments there, and it's sad to hear that people have moved to North Perth or Listowel area, moved away. That's disappointing to hear, and I would suggest that it's not just for new hires or new people working in and around North Perth. It would be for the existing folks that are here, because if I wasn't driving back and forth to town, I wouldn't have seen the billboard for Between the Lines, and I'm like, oh, well, what is that? So of course you Google it. So I was curious, Kim, if you had mentioned something about ambassadors. Is there any ambassadors on social media, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook? Is there any sort of posts going out on a regular basis to promote different businesses? I know the Perth County has their tourism page, and there's somebody that kind of goes around and features little stuff during the seasons, whether that's summer or that type of stuff. Is there any other people you could leverage to promote in a different way on social media channels, things that are available in and around North Perth?
I mean, we're not utilizing ambassadors specifically right now. We do promote and share things on social media. We share our community information. We've launched Driftscape. We try to promote those events and things, but ambassadors might be a good avenue for us to explore. We do have some guidelines municipally that we cannot share or promote specific businesses. We can, where things like tourism, they can promote specific businesses, and so we're limited a little bit by that. Where the chamber or the BIA can. So I mean, we're definitely trying to promote those events, and by using things like Driftscape to do that. But yeah, we'll have to explore that a little bit more, because we don't want it it getting missed or people not being aware of what we do have to offer.
I'm not sure if you could reach out to the ranch. Like obviously that's got a fairly large reach and they've got social media channels. It would be just nice to use what's out there to attract people and keep people and get them more involved in what's going on in our community. And given COVID, it's obviously a little bit trickier to get people out to events when they're not happening. So it's kind of a crummy situation, but moving forward, it'd be great to get people more knowledge and more involved in events around the area.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Thank you for your comments, Tanya. Anyone else?
Doug, if I might,
Go ahead, Todd.
I want to pick up on the theme that has emerged here, because there have been separate consultations with new Canadians and newcomers to our community that have suggested exactly the same thing, which is that we mount an ambassador program that supports welcoming in our community. So I think we're seeing a convergence of ideas here, which are kind of exciting, and I can appreciate that that this initiative could have a few different heads. But the good news is that this is not the only group that is talking about it. There is another one that CAO Snell and Kim and I have been working with that have raised essentially the same idea. So
Good. Thank you. Work in progress for sure.
So if I could just step back, are there any ideas though that you think, I mean, we've focused upon areas or social spaces or events that are existing and how we market and promote them. And I mean, and one thing that came out earlier was that that social media isn't always the best way, because for some of those demographics, they're not using, like, they don't come to our social media. I mean, through ambassadors, they may access it. Are there other areas that are seen that we're missing? Like maybe have you heard anything in talking with youth that there are events or there are specific areas that we're maybe not, that we need to work to develop?
I know one thing that people said was like, Krabby's is the only bar in town. I know people said like back in the day we used to have the Anchor that we'd go to after, like when we were in college and stuff, somewhere to come back to and socialize with people. I know that's something that kind of got brought up in some of the youth, to have something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
It's great that everybody speaks about our business between the lines. It's we are trying here to help promote the business also. We actually have the VON comes and uses our building 3 days a week now. And I do appreciate what Becca's saying there. It's hard to, right now, it's very difficult with all the shutdowns and everything to get people out to socialize, because you're basically in such a limited number also. I think moving forward as this comes to an end, hopefully someday, I think you'll find that it will get better, but the businesses themselves, I think, have to step in with the town and promote basically group bonding amongst themselves also. Becca, like I agree that the younger ones, it's hard to keep the younger ones around. At our other business, we go through young staff quite frequently, and a lot of it is that they move up from the city. They don't like living in the country, so they move back to the city. There's a lot more things to do. We do try to promote all the restaurants in town with via prizes or gift cards or whatever. And I think that's the way we have to approach it. I think if the town can assist getting all businesses involved basically to get out and do more things throughout the town and the downtown core, I think it would help a lot.
Okay.
Well, go ahead, Andrew.
I don't have a lot necessarily to comment on, Chair Doug, but I really appreciate Becca's comments, and that's not unique to North Perth. There's no question that new families, new people to a community just don't find a way to get themselves settled and end up trying another community or going back to where they maybe came from. I've heard that from a lot of communities, and it takes a lot of work, and it actually, I don't know whether it's something the municipality can even get involved in. It becomes the people of the community need to change their ways to recognize that concern almost, and that reality, and have neighborhoods kind of welcome and recognize new families to the area. And I think that's, and I've heard specific people around North Perth make a point of that, and it's incredible the impact of it, but really hard to do on mass scale and have an impact. Specifically around the social spaces, I don't. It's really hard. I think youth are always looking for space that they can call their own, and from an economic perspective, it's hard to have that kind of space available to just do whatever they want without fees associated to it. Trevor's got a wonderful facility for youth and otherwise to come and go, but it's not just space available. It's got to be rented space, and that's the only way to do it. I can't imagine that there's a business plan to just have space made available for come and go without fees associated. But yeah, there's always a need for space for a group or youth specifically to call their own, and that's important to them. But it's always hard to find.
Thanks, Andrew. Kim?
I think, does anyone else have anything that they'd like to share? And then if not, we can maybe move on to our next topic. I don't see anything else there. So, okay, so the next sector, or the next topic is moving on to a priority that was identified during priority setting, was connectivity to internet for all businesses. So the question we are hoping to discuss is what sector and demographic group have the biggest gap or need for business connectivity. So by sector, we mean, agriculture, manufacturing, like all the different sectors that you represent as well. And within that each sector, is there a specific demographic group that you think have a gap or have a need for improved connectivity for business? And being able to identify that's really important in helping us to narrow it. We may think we have an idea of what that is, but we could definitely use your input if anybody has any thoughts on sector and or demographic.
Andrew?
Yeah, so I can speak fairly specifically about the farming community. We've got a lot of customers that struggle to get any kind of connectivity in their rural settings, and there's been various initiatives around over the last 3 to 5 years, and some works with some success, but overall it's been pretty tough, and certainly limits their opportunities to take part in connected ways. And as we look at business opportunities in the ag sector, further technologies, it's absolutely going to be limiting to some of their businesses when there could be opportunities to replace some labor demands and requirements with technology, but always requiring connectivity.
So you're talking specifically to agriculture. Are you meaning like for larger farming operations? Are you meaning perhaps small value-added businesses, or where?
Almost any size. Certainly, farms are continuing to grow and expand in their size. Fewer numbers and larger operations, but all new technology is requiring connectivity. We've got robots milking cows these days and things like that. GPS in tractors and self-driving tractors and so forth. It all requires connectivity.
Thank you, Andrew. Anyone else would like to weigh in on this?
I could, Mr. Chair, again, I'm not sure if you can really divvy up one sector demographic away from internet access. We all need it, right? Like here I am, I've got my computer in front of me, but I've also got my cell phone going because it's not very reliable just to have my internet going. More often than not, I've got two devices going, my computer screen to see people and my phone so I can hear what's going on, right? And with so many more people working from home and maybe shifting in the future where folks are going to be working from home on a more permanent basis, I think it's important for everybody. Obviously, kids and having to do online learning at home and snow days, and then that goes to online learning. I don't think you can specify one sector. It's important for everybody. And Andrew's right, there's so many things that get done on a farm, and it doesn't matter if you're small or large or what size you are, or even opportunities outside of the farm, like me joining this meeting or my husband being a part of the Egg Society. They've got Zoom meetings in the evening, and it's done virtually now. It's important to everybody, and it would be nice if we can all have reliable internet all the time, and that's something that we're all working towards. And there's obviously a strain on the system because of COVID, and I understand that, but I think it's important to everybody and to pick and choose who is important. I think we're all important to have good internet connectivity.
I think it's good to point out, though, I mean, you do have different age groups, whether it's for school, for healthcare, for volunteering opportunities. It is really important for all those different areas to ensure, I mean, it is sounding like the agriculture sector in particular, because of location and weaker connectivity seems to be experienced in our community or in all rural areas, really in southwestern Ontario. But you know, that's really good comment or to clarify that it does impact all different demographics. Or you couldn't benefit all demographic areas groups by improving in that one sector.
It is definitely work in progress. We do know that it is coming. It's not if, it's when, but it can't get here soon enough, for sure. I don't know, Todd, do you want to speak on that a little? I think we have in the past, but maybe refresh some of their minds on this.
I assume, Doug, you mean in terms of internet connectivity?
Yes.
So there's a lot happening in the landscape, and that's certainly good news. There's also some frustrations on the horizon, and that's the less good news, I suppose. But I have the opportunity to serve on the SWIFT board. I think that's what Doug is sort of referring to. And SWIFT, of course, has mounted a rather remarkable platform for bringing high-speed broadband internet across southwestern Ontario. The good news for us, of course, is that we do have a SWIFT project that is started. Certainly, there have been a number of awards from SWIFT to local internet service providers. Generally, that's been the strategy with SWIFT, and you know, there will be about $9 million spent, if memory serves, on projects in Perth County to bring a lot more fiber to the home and to rural businesses. The good news is, from my take, and Justin, you can plug your ears if you like, that North Perth was the disproportionate winner in the SWIFT lottery, if you will. And we will see most of Elma Township completed with SWIFT funds, which I think is excellent news. We've also been given some heads up about additional sort of collateral projects from ISPs that will benefit Molesworth in particular. So we're seeing progress there. On the other side, sort of as briefly as I can, the province has announced a new approach to trying to close the gap, the rest of the gap, that doesn't leverage all of the work that SWIFT has done, but sort of strikes out on its own. And again, interestingly enough, there are a couple of projects that both the province, which is sort of managing things, and the feds, who are partners, have generally put out for tender, if you will, in our area. The primary one that is in North Perth is in Wallace Township. So a lot of Wallace Township has the potential to be covered. And with fiber as opposed to radio-based or that kind of communication. The other parts of the county that are sort of in that cohort fared less well. The province seems to have given indication that it intends to use those wireless technologies in other parts of Perth County. And so again, we wound up sort of being the winners in this lottery for funds to be designated. The challenge that all of us in Perth County face at this point is that the new provincial program has put in place some fairly prohibitive barriers to small ISPs. And so, whereas we would prefer, I think, because generally they are more cost effective, to see work done by Whiteman and by Mornington and by Tucker Smith in West Perth, the conditions that the province has placed on its new program appear to seriously favor Bell and Rogers, and will rule out participation by these smaller ISPs because of things like the down securities that they must place at the beginning of the project to assure their intent. So there is a little bit of politics involved, friends, and we are trying to communicate certainly through right vehicles to the province that we're not pleased with the notion that that the smaller ISPs could be cut out of this business, especially when they tend to bring value to this business that shows itself in the cost per kilometer of fiber installed, that kind of thing. So that's sort of the update. Doug, I hope that's helpful. Maybe that was too much.
No, that's very helpful. Thank you very much, Todd. Okay, anyone else would like to comment? See none. Kim from here.
If no one has additional comments on that topic, I think that does give us a little bit of direction on that as being a priority specifically in those areas. And I think that'll cover off that question for now.
Okay. Thank you very much. I see there's nothing else on our agenda. I believe the next meeting for the committee is Wednesday, March 23rd at 3:30 p.m. That is correct. Yes.
That's correct.
There'll be, I believe the topic is affordable and attainable housing, and then there'll be more to follow that Kim will send out. If you do have your regrets, please send them off to Mary Emma. And if there's nothing else, I would like a motion to adjourn this meeting today at 4:30 p.m. Moved by Trevor, second by Andrew. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you everyone for participating today, and enjoy the rest of the week.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.